Right now, Harbor Freight has dozens, even hundreds of incentives, price lists full of red numbers, percentages falling so deeply that many people feel not buying is a fee. But the truth is, most of those deals aren't as good as you think. And if you just look at the percentage discount, chances are Harbor Freight is the winner, not you. Because there is an implicit rule of the game that very few people notice. A discounted item is not necessarily cheap, and a cheap-looking item is not necessarily worth buying. There are tools that are 20% off today, but just a few weeks ago, they were 40 to 50% off. There are items priced under $20, but if the discount is less than 30%, in fact, you are buying at the normal price, just labeled sale. And that's why we made this video. Among the series of deals going on at Harbor Freight, we only chose exactly 7 items, not because they are the cheapest, but because they are rare items that after buying, you will not regret walking out of the store. If you want to buy smarter, avoid wasting money just because of the word discount, then take a close look from start to finish. This is definitely the strongest deal on this whole list. No need to argue much. If I had to choose a single item from all the deals available at Harbor Freight right now, I would choose this 3/8-inch impact extension set without hesitation. Not because it's flashy, not because it's new, but because this is the type of tool you use so much that you forget when you bought it. The current price is only about $4 down, nearly 50%. That's all I hear. But the real deal is this, cheaper than a mid-sized cup of Starbucks coffee. But it's something you can use for decades, day after day, in the garage, outside the driveway, or under the car. And most importantly, this reduction exceeds the familiar 30% sale threshold, meaning this is not the type of reduction. Extension impact is a tool that everyone initially thinks. Maybe buy it when you need it. But the reality is that when you need it but don't have it, then you feel angry. The snail lies a little deeper. The hand is stuck in the chassis. The tightening angle is not slipping. And you have to make porridge and add more things, both wasting time and getting annoyed. With the extension set in hand, everything is much simpler. No need to think much. The beauty of this set is that it's not something you buy for fun. It's not something you hang on the wall to look good on. This is a must-have item, from odd chores around the house to car repairs, engine repairs, or weekend DIY. It doesn't make you wow when you open the box, but it makes you feel relieved every time you need it. And here's why I put it first. The more often the tool is used, the more worth buying when the price bottoms out. But with a reduction of nearly 50% like this, it's really harder to demand. I'm a little curious. In your garage, is there any tool like this? Like I don't remember when I bought it, but when I work, it's naturally in my hands. Comment and try sharing. If you find this way of filtering deals practical and colorless, then register for the channel so you can continue to filter for you, without having to spend money on the last few red price lists. And on to the next dish, we'll talk about a $1 tool that's so cheap that many people think it's junk. But there's a reason why it made this list. Hearing this, many people will laugh. What is there to say about paper knives? But wait, if you've ever had a garage, opened a box, cut a drawstring, torn duct tape, or searched the box of a pickup truck, then you'll understand why the cheapest knife on this list is in the top 2. $1 for a knife. When it comes to life, it is cheaper than a can of soft drink, cheaper than a tip for coffee, and almost at the level of buying more to save you regret. But the important thing is not the cheap price, but the fact that you don't have to worry about it. Don't regret it if you drop it. Don't get upset if someone borrows it and forgets to return it. And don't hesitate to use it for dirty things. Cutting things that you never want to take out a good knife to handle. Gordon is not a high-end brand. Everyone knows that. But Gordon's not trash either. It's located in the same area that real workers love. It's usable, durable enough, and doesn't make you feel bad for money. This knife was not born to show off, but was born to work. The handle is simple. The snap blade is broken and used again. If it's broken, it's not a lot of thinking. I like this knife in exactly one way. It is always ready to do things that good tools should not do. Cutting thick cardboard, pulling old carpets, prying away greasy tape. Those things would be both regretful and frustrating if you used an expensive knife. As for this $1 knife, you just have to finish it. Throw it back into the corner of the garage or trunk. No need to worry. A 56% discount may sound loud, but actually, what makes it worth buying is that the price has already bottomed out. Cheaper no longer makes sense. And with these types of items, buying them at the right time is not to save money, but to save thinking. You know for sure that you don't buy wrongly. Don't buy wrongly, and don't need to make deeper sales. Let me ask the truth. In your garage or car, is there a knife that you can't remember when you bought it and still use it all the time? Or are you the type of person who always has to look for knives because don't know where it is? Comment and share. And on to the next dish. We'll talk about a tiny dish that's cheap, but it's something that makes a lot of people crazy every time they work, until they have it in hand. If you've ever repaired a car, disassembled a machine, or simply screwed a few screws under the table, you've probably experienced this moment. Oh, where was the screw from earlier? Then you bend down, look at the flashlight, flip the carpet, hear the sound of metal falling somewhere without knowing exactly where. And often, that snail will disappear just when you need it the most. That's why this 6-inch magnet inhaler is in the top 3. Not because it's good, not because it's new, but because it solves a very familiar frustration. The price is only $2 50% off, as cheap as a snack package. But in return, it saves time, saves swearing, and saves having to crawl on the floor looking for things. The beauty of this tray is that it does the right thing, and does it very well. You take off the screws, bolts, and black dragons, throw them all into the tray, and they lie there. No rolling, no falling, no drifting away. Stick it on the chassis, on the side of the cabinet, or place it right next to the workplace, and you're done. It doesn't look terrible, but once you get used to it, you'll feel uncomfortable when you go back to making without a tray. Many people skip this dish because they think, there is no way to put screws on the table. Yes, until you work in a lean, narrow area or under the car. At that moment, this tiny tray became the only thing keeping things from disappearing. And that is also the reason why in many stores, this dish is bought out very quickly. Not because it's rare, but because anyone who has used it often, buy another one. I like to call this a one-time, used tool. It's not broken. It's not out of fashion. It doesn't need upgrading. 10 years later, you're still using that same tray. It's just dirtier and fuller of scratches. But the scratchier it is, the more it proves that it actually works. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever lost a snail or bolt because you had no place to put it? And if so, what kind of treatment do you usually handle? Comment to share. See if anyone has ever gone crazy like me. If you like small tools that solve the right problems, and don't have to buy them for advertising, then subscribe to the channel so I can continue to filter out items like this for you. In the next dish, we will talk about a socket that only when you encounter the right snail that is difficult to live in will you understand why missing it is a problem. If you have ever repaired a car, removed a chair, made some electrical items, or touched a European car, then there must have been a time when you encountered this scene. Opening the toolbox, looking at a snail with its head on, then it popped out. Exactly one sentence. Oh, done, because you have all kinds of things in your hand. From flat, bake, hex, but Torx is not there. That is Torx's very unique pain. If you don't see me, that's fine. But whenever you encounter me, you'll be stuck immediately. You can't be institutional. You can't temporarily replace it with something else. And the more you try to take risks, the easier it is to get your head out. At that time, there were only 2 options. Either quit your job or run out to buy tools. And often buying in a passive position is always expensive. That's why this 9-piece Torx set is worth it. The price is $5 down 50%, equivalent to a quick meal, but in return, you buy peace of mind. It stays in the garage, in the car, or in the toolbox, and most of the time you forget you have it until one day the exact hard-to-live snail appears, and then you just pull out the Torx set. Keep doing your job. Don't get upset. Don't swear. The beauty of this set is that it is compact, does not take up space, but deals with a very specific situation. It's not a tool you hold every day, but it's a tool that keeps you from being interrupted. Anyone who has worked midway and then has to stop, just because they lack exactly one item, will understand how uncomfortable that feeling is. I put this Torx set on the list, not because it's cool, but because it's the right type of dish to buy first to avoid anger later. With a 50% discount. This is almost the bottom price. It's hard to wait for a better deal. And these types of items are bought at the right time, not to save money, but to save time and head. I ask you, have you ever had to quit your job just because of lack of Torx? Or have you used another big head and damaged the snail? Comment to share for fun. See if anyone has ever been hit by the same palm. In the next dish, I will talk about a tool that looks bigger and more expensive than the previous dishes, but is something that surprises many people because of its decrease and actual use value. There is a very underrated tool, which is something that makes a lot of things but doesn't specialize in anything. And honestly, most cases are correct. But this Banks 2-in-1 nail and staple machine is a rare exception. Original price is about $40 now, $25 down, nearly 40%. To put it into perspective, it's like this: one less restaurant meal. But in return, a tool that can follow you from odd DIY projects to home interior repair. It's not like buying it to display, but buying it will be used sooner or later. What I like about this one is that it focuses on a very lifelong need. You are not a professional carpenter, nor do you build wood every day. But there will be times when you need to try on the board, shoot the splint, make a simple frame, fix the chair, close the back of the cabinet, or do some free-to-do weekend-style things to relieve itchy work. At that time, having a machine that can shoot both nails and staples was enough. There was no need to buy two separate machines. It is not strong. Every type of nail penetrates, and is not a tool to bring to large projects. But it's compact enough, light enough, easy enough to use, so you don't mind pulling it out whenever you need it. And here's the important point. The tool you're afraid to use will sooner or later be in the corner. This one doesn't. It's in moderation. So you use it more often than you think. A 37% reduction doesn't sound as round as a 50%, but in the harbor freight world, a nearly 40% reduction for a dish with high practical use value is remarkable. This is not a fake sale, not a price increase and then a decrease, but a price that has reached the area worth buying. Buying now is reasonable. Waiting more is not necessarily better. How many things in your house have ever been delayed just because didn't have this right tool? And if you have a machine that's enough for small things, are you willing to do more? Comment and share. If you like the type of review that doesn't flatter, doesn't sell, just says something worth buying, then subscribe to the channel so I can continue filtering things like this for you. In the next dish, we'll talk about what many people buy more than buying the battery tool, and why among the batteries on sale, there's only one option that's really worth the money. When it comes to buying tools, many people often think of machines first. But if you have been using battery packs for a long time, you will soon realize a very harsh truth. Tools are used all the time, and batteries are. Sooner or later, you have to buy more. And usually buy it when you're not very happy, because the battery is low in the middle and can't do anything. This 5 ampere-hour Bauer battery pack is $90 left for 2 units, down directly $40 from the original price. Make it easy to imagine, it's almost half the cost of a new machine, but it's what determines whether the machines you're still working on or not. For many people, battery is a long-term cost that few people pay attention to when they first start buying tools. What's worth mentioning here is that the Bauer 5 amp-hour is not inferior in capacity compared to other battery lines in the same system, but is about $10 cheaper than the Hercules for the same 2-piece combo. It sounds like $10 is small, but in the world of battery tools, $10 is an extra box of drill bits, or a very useful sundry. And with batteries, that difference repeats over and over again over the years. I like to look at the battery in a very simple way. A strong battery is working seamlessly. A low battery is everything interrupted. No one likes to be aggressive and have to stop and wait for the charger. Or worse, have to change to another handpiece just because the battery runs out. Having extra battery doesn't make you cooler, but it makes you less annoyed. And that's enough. A $40 discount on batteries is a rare discount because batteries often sell very evenly, rarely requiring stimulus. So, when I see the battery dropping so deeply, I always see it as a sign to buy, especially if you have or will definitely use the Bauer system for a long time. This is not a way to buy for pleasure, but to buy to save money later. What about you? Have you ever bought a new tool when the real reason is because, is the old battery too weak? Or did you have to quit your job just because you no longer had a rechargeable battery? Comment and share if you see these types of perspectives that help you buy more awake tools. Then subscribe to the channel so you can continue to say things that few people say, but everyone who uses them understands. And in the last dish, we'll close it with the cheapest tool on the list, but it's something many people have just realized after buying it. Well, why didn't I buy it sooner back then? $1. Hearing this, many people automatically think, maybe you can get something. And frankly, that's right. No one buys this $1 caliper to work with high precision. It's not made for good dressing, nor is it something you use in a job that requires low errors. But the problem is, most of us don't need to be that precise. In real life, many times you just need to know if this size fits, whether this snail is larger or smaller than that, or whether buying this replacement matches. At those times, this $1 caliper does exactly one thing. Measure quickly, no need to guess, no need to bring old things to the store, no need to go home to find out you bought them wrong. $1 is cheaper than a car deposit, but it helps you avoid buying the wrong $10 to $20 item. And just avoid making mistakes once, and it's paid back. With cheap items like this, the value does not lie in the accuracy, but in the fact that it helps you make decisions with confidence. If you don't like the ruler, then the 1 to 2-sided tape reduced by up to 66% is in the same spirit. Not the kind to hang a television or heavy stuff, but to stick some miscellaneous, neat, temporary stuff is more than enough. Buy a roll, throw it in the garage or drawer when needed. Don't have to run to the store. I put this dish at the bottom, not because it's less important, but because it summarizes the entire tool buying mindset of this list. It doesn't need to be the best. It doesn't need to be the most accurate. It just needs to be enough to use and right price. And you, how many tools do you have in your home that are actually just used to guess for sure or make quickly? And among those items, which one is cheap that you find worth buying? And those are 7 deal tools at Harbor Freight. Right now, only these items are worth buying. If you feel like you're missing something or don't agree with anything on the list, say it directly in the comments section. I'd love to hear your perspective. Before ending the video, I want to quickly say this part because this is where many people lose money the most unjustly. Harbor Freight does not lack deals, but also does not lack deals that look delicious and buy nothing more. Firstly, items under $20 but 10 to 20% off. I really recommend. Okay, reducing that kind of life is only cheaper than a cup of coffee, while you're spending time, gas, and attention on something you don't necessarily need right away. For cheap items, if they haven't been reduced by at least 30%, it's usually just a normal price with a sale label. Second, items used to drop deeper in the parking lot sale, but now only slightly. This is a very familiar trap. You look at the price list and see instant savings, thinking it's a rare opportunity. But if you've been tracking prices for a while, you'll know. This was cheaper last month, right? Buying in that case is like paying more just because you forgot the old price. Third, there are some medium-quality tools that can be used but are not worth buying right now. It's not that they're bad, it's that they haven't bottomed out yet. Buying now is not wrong, but it is not wise either. And with tools, buying them many times is a waste of real money. I always think like this. Not buying anything today doesn't mean missing out. Sometimes it's a way to keep money for the right item at the right time. Harbor Freight will still be on sale. That's for sure. Have you ever bought something just because you saw a discount, then went home so you wouldn't touch it? And now, I'll close the entire list, so you can take a look to see if these 7 dishes are really worth entering Harbor Freight today. And those are 7 deal tools at Harbor Freight right now that I think are really worth buying. Not because they are the cheapest, but because after buying them, they can be used without regret. As for the rest, no matter how red the price list is, it won't cost anything to ignore it. I really want to hear your opinion. Is there any item on this list that you absolutely agree with, or is there anything you find yourself missing or not worth ranking so highly? Just say it directly in the comments section. Because each garage and each working style are different. If you like the type of deal filtering content that is alert, not flattering, not following sales, then subscribe to the channel so you can continue making videos that help you avoid buying more wrongly, not buy more. And quickly remind me of one sentence. This is sharing based on personal experience and practical perspective, not mandatory advice. Price, quality, and needs are different for each person, so buy what you really need, not temporary emotions. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next video.